Coming up on today's show, Ellecia Paine helps people break free from monogamous conditioning, guiding them through the exciting world of ethical non-monogamy, polyamory, and swinging. She turns challenges like jealousy and insecurity into trust and open communication. As the host of the Nope, We're Not Monogamous podcast, Ellecia champions authentic connections. With a decade of living and coaching non-monogamy, she shares insights that resonate deeply, making her clients feel understood and empowered. Welcome to Loving Without Boundaries, where we hear inspiring stories, share actionable advice, and talk about the challenges and the joys of ethical non-monogamy and polyamory. I'm your host, Kitty Chambliss. Coming up, my conversation with Ellecia Paine. Welcome back to Loving Without Boundaries, where I am really excited to be here with Ellecia Paine, and I think we're going to have a lively, interesting conversation. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come join me on our show here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for inviting me on. This is exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. And I'd love it if you'd share a little bit about yourself in your own words with our audience.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Ellecia. I am non-monogamous. Surprise.
Yeah.
I'm the host of the podcast Nope, We're Not Monogamous, and I'm a non-monogamous relationship coach. So I help people navigate all of the, all the ups and downs that come with, doing relationships outside the box, like, jealousy and insecurity and scary things.
Mm-hmm. Love that. I appreciate you're one of the folks in my kind of field of influence. So I appreciate there aren't enough of us, I think. So I welcome the opportunity to talk to somebody else who is working to help people through some of these tricky things that come up. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about your background, if that's okay. Is that all right?
Yeah, totally.
Awesome.
Totally. Where should I start?
Sure. I love to ask what I call your light bulb moment. Like, was there a moment or a series of different scenarios where you realized that monogamy wasn't going to work for you, or you were just different from whether it was the other kids or the other young adults? How did that happen for you?
Yeah. So I was married monogamously for 13 years, had 2 kids, and did the white picket fence. And when I got divorced for a whole host of reasons, having nothing to do with monogamy or non-monogamy, but when I got divorced, I was like, well, I'm 35 and I have 2 kids and I have a house and I have a business and I do not want another husband. So I'm just going to be really slutty, but I'm going to be honest about it because that seems like the right thing to do. And I didn't know anybody who was actually like polyamorous or non-monogamous or swinging or, just anything like that. The only thing I knew was people were cheating. And I was like, well, that seems really stressful. So I don't want to do that. So that I was like, I'm going to be non-monogamous. And also, I've always been really jealous and possessive. So I'll probably have to do something about that. And then like 3 months later, I met my second husband. And he was like, I'm polyamorous and I'm dating all these people. And I was like, cool, you do you. And then we started falling in love. And I was like, oh, God, this is really hard. I'm going to have to figure out how to have the thing I want and also not be in an emotional spiral all the time.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I love the candor and the honesty and your own self-awareness of, wait a minute, I want to be slutty. I want to express myself sexually, and I don't want to cheat. And I know that this is going to be hard. I'm going to have to learn some things along the way. So I really appreciate that. So, and that's interesting too, that you had decided that you didn't want to get married again, but you were also just honoring this relationship that was kind of unfolding. Yeah. And he knew he was polyamorous before you even met.
Yeah.
Yeah. And had you already heard the word polyamory at that time?
What was that?
Had you already heard the word polyamory at that time?
That's really funny. So I met my husband on OkCupid, and they have all these questions that you can answer to like, see how much of a match you are. And one of his questions, it was like polyamory ? And I'm into that, or ew, no. And I was like, oh my God, no, I don't know what that's all about. Because in my mind, it was polygamy. I was like, no, that's not what I want. Right. Because I had no idea. I had not met anybody who was polyamorous. I'd never heard of it.
That's so interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't learn that word till I was about 37, 38 years old. So,
yeah.
And that was in the early 2000s. So the word was around. I just never had heard it before. So, that's fascinating. Yeah. So did he kind of school you on what polyamory was versus polygamy at that time?
Yeah. I don't think he really knew either. Like, we just talked about it a bit, and then I was like, I'm going to go find all the books and all the podcasts. So I just like dove in and was like, I want to learn everything, right? Like, I started with Ethical Slut and then moved on from there.
That's what I was going to ask. The Ethical Slut was the first one I read. So yeah, what were some of those first books, those first podcasts that you checked out?
Yeah. So The Ethical Slut was the first one. That was like, blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, these people are putting into words these things that I've always thought. Like my whole life, but I was just trying to, I was doing what you're supposed to do. And then I found Poly Weekly. And then after that I definitely, I've listened to your podcast and did all of that. And then, I think the next big one that was out at the time was More Than Two. Yeah. So I just, went down the
rabbit hole. Yeah. So that's fascinating. And just, I'm sure your story will resonate with a lot of people, including me as well. I'm curious. So when you said that you started to fall in love with your, I guess, eventual husband, like, was that in the first couple months? Did it take longer than that? Like, when did that start to happen?
Yeah, that was fun. So we went on our first date. And after that, he texted me and he says, so you're everything I've been looking for. And I was like, no, I'm not. Keep going, bud. That's not me. He's like, no. Like, keep doing you. Do everything you want to do. That's amazing and hot. And I love the confidence. And I love that you're exploring yourself. Like, never stop doing that. And in the end, I'm going to win out. I was like, okay. Well, I'll go on another date with you.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was like 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
I was head over heels.
Pretty early on. Okay.
Yeah. And also, then we were off exploring with other people.
That's fascinating. But you were realizing, like, hey, I realize I'm falling for this particular person. And then he became like, kind of like your main squeeze while you were seeing other people. Is that how that went down?
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Yeah. So tell me more about what were some of the challenges that you had at that time? Like, you mentioned jealousy and the emotional spirals, and how you navigated through that, how you overcame that.
Yeah. I love that. So I would say jealousy was probably the biggest one. I mean, somebody asked me the other day, like, how long did it take before you were like, not just in a primal panic over jealousy? And I was like, like 5 years at least. Like 5 or 6 years of like deep inner work. And part of what helped with that was like, I wanted to be non-monogamous. Like, I did not want to go back to monogamy more than I wanted to not feel how I was feeling. Right. Like, I had this North Star guiding me of like, actually how I want to live my life is this way. And I need to deal with my insecurities and my self-worth and the things that are creating these challenges, because I had a goal. I wanted to have as much fun as possible and feel really good about it. And so, so that's what I was working through. Jealousy, that was the big one. And then just like really unwinding a lot of the monogamous conditioning, what does it mean to be a wife? What does it mean to be married? What does it mean to be in a relationship? What does it, all of these things that like, I knew what I wanted. I knew how I wanted to behave. I knew what I wanted to believe. And yet my nervous system was just like, and you're going to die. Everything is terrible. I'm like, it's not terrible. And my nervous system was like, no, it's really terrible. And then I could like logically be like, no, I think I'm okay.
That's fascinating. So, so was a lot of that work from your own research, or did you whatever you want to tell me in terms of like how you kind of navigated? You said it was like 5 years of really hard work.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So what's fun is during that same time, I wound up going to school to become I thought I was going to school to become a women's sexual empowerment coach.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because part of this, like, I don't want to be monogamous thing was I had very few orgasms at the age of 35, and I wanted lots of those. And so I did was just studying my own sexuality and how to like really live a juicy life. And so I went to school to become a women's sexual empowerment coach, and I wound up becoming a relationship coach. And so that was like 2 years of studying. And so while I was doing just really doing a lot of work on myself, like who am I? What do I want? Healing, a lot of wounds from past relationships and childhood, and finding how to love myself and how to really find confidence and worth and value that didn't depend on my partners going, you're really pretty and you're really loved, and I need lots of reassurance, but I was like, I don't want to need lots of reassurance. I want to like lots of reassurance.
Right, but not require it, like you because you've already got that worth and that self-love and that confidence. That's awesome.
Yeah. That was the biggest thing, was really just working on myself and how I felt about myself. I remember at one point, probably in the first 2 years of our relationship, my husband and I have been married 10 years now. But in the first couple of years, at one point, he was like, I feel like I can't reassure you enough. Like, it's like this bottomless pit that I'm trying to fill with love and reassurance. And he's like, I'm getting exhausted. Like, I don't know how else to tell you that I love you and I'm not leaving you, and that other people aren't at a level that you'll never reach. Right. He was like, I don't know how to do that. You're going to have to do that. I was like, okay, I'm going to dig in.
So that's when you did some of that internal work.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. So I'm curious, where in tell me a little bit more about how you decided to get married. Did you write your own vows? And timeline wise, where was that alongside you going to school?
Oh, yeah. So let's see. We were probably together about a year when we got engaged. And then we waited another year to get married. And during that time, I mean, we were having group sex, and my husband he's so polyamorous. He falls in love all the time. He has such a big heart. And so I was like, I just want to have sex with people. Like, you're doing this whole emotional thing, man. And this is why I fell in love with him. Right. I was like, this is someone that just cares so deeply. And so, so we were exploring all sorts of fun things while also being engaged and combining families. So when we got married, we wrote our own vows that, we're very committed to each other's growth and happiness. Right. And also we put on a big dinner show. We were like, weddings are always for the people showing up. Like, we've already done this. So we put on a variety show and had everybody come dressed up in kind of a cosplay costume fun thing.
Wow. That's fun.
Yeah. But now I'm looking at it and going, wow, what a very polyamorous wedding. One of our partners officiated. One of our other partners came and traveled internationally. And
That's fascinating. That sounds really cool. And were you already in school at that time?
No, I wasn't. Okay. Yeah, we got married in 2016 and I went to school in 2018.
Oh, neat. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was another part of the that growth and that expansion. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, that's lovely.
It's been fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. And And it sounds similar to my journey where I met my husband on Match.com back when I was monogamous, before I learned the word polyamory. And I learned that word a couple years later. And we also wrote our own vows, and we just left out the forsake all others type of language.
Yep.
But all the, love you till not death do us part. It wasn't quite that, corny. But, it was written in our own words. And we got married out by a lighthouse, not in a church, because we wanted to do something that was very unusual, but still really cool to us. So I think it's neat just to hear other people's stories that, you did something really unique for you all and you wrote your own vows. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Really cool. So I'd love to understand more about where you are now. Like, tell me more about your work, like how it kind of went from first you were thinking about becoming a women's sexual empowerment coach, and it kind of morphed eventually into a relationship coach. How did that process go?
That's so fun. Let's see. We had my husband and I had a triad with another woman for about 8 years that very recently has, like, they broke up. They didn't even break up. They just kind of stopped being together. She's still very much a part of our family. But so we went on our honeymoon, and then my husband started falling in love with this other woman. And she and I were developing a really great friendship and becoming romantic. And then I was dealing with I had gone from having just like a lot of external sexual relationships to now we have like a really in-depth, very polyamorous relationship. And so that was the thing. My challenges there was the thing that I was talking about all the time. And then, I'd talk to other people and then they'd tell me about their relationships. So I felt like I was talking about relationships all the time. I mean, 24/7 talking about relationships. And I'm starting my coaching business, and everything I was talking about and like really enjoying talking about was relationships and unpacking the whys, the who's, what's, when's, where's, how's, and that was just like the direction I was going, and that was the advice people were looking for, and the insight people wanted, and the thing that like was really lighting me up was like, I'm having a challenge. Okay, I moved through that. I got to the other side of it, and now I'm really excited to share it with someone. So then I just started sharing that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. So it's just it sounds like it just happened almost organically in a way. Yeah.
It was pretty organic. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty organic, because I was like, I want women to have better orgasms. And then I was like, but I don't want them to have to only have one person to have better orgasms with. What if they can all just sleep with whoever they wanted? What if I could free the whole world?
I love that. So it's kind of like how women can have better orgasms with more than one person.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. And your story really resonates with me too. I don't know how much you listen to my podcast, but I was anorgasmic for like the first 35 years of my adult life, partly because I was a recovering Catholic, so I had all that guilt and shame, and I was on the pill, and no one had ever told me that the pill can suppress your libido. And so once I went off the pill, when my husband and I decided we were going to try and start a family late in life, spoiler alert, it didn't work because we were too old at that point. But my libido like skyrocketed, like I was a teenage boy. And at first I was elated, I finally started having orgasms, but I was also really ticked off because no one had told me how the pill affects your libido like that, So I say that whenever I can on the podcast for anyone else who needs to hear that, because my doctors, many of them, never said a word to me. But I was happily orgasmic, later in life, like starting in my early 40s, so your story resonates with me that way as well. Yeah.
I talked to so many people that's the case.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like why both female and male doctors did not tell me, I had to find out through my own trial and error of, 30 years on the pill and then going off, Yeah. So yay, more
it's kind of
orgasms.
like, do I want an orgasm or do I want a baby?
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't know there was like I could have taken some other avenues, right? I didn't know.
Right.
I just thought that I was anorgasmic. I would cry about it. I would read books about it, and but no, it was that was getting suppressed physically,
Yeah.
physiologically. So fascinating. So yeah, I'd love to maybe. I'm trying to think of if what some of my the listeners might want to hear from you, since you have really navigated through jealousy, and that's something that you help your clients through. Is there any like wisdom that you can impart in terms of how to navigate through when jealousy or insecurity does come up quite naturally when folks are exploring consensual non-monogamy, sometimes for the first time?
Yeah. It's going to happen. Like, there are people who don't experience jealousy, just like there's people who don't experience happiness. That's not the norm, right? Like that's not standard. So I just assume you're going to experience jealousy at some point. And then when you do, it doesn't mean, now it can mean that something bad is happening, but often it doesn't mean that something bad is happening. And what I find really helpful first is just to like take a beat. Right? Like just slow down and not react to these big emotions that happen. Because then you fly off the handle, and then later you calm down and you're like, wow, why did I react like that? Now that we've talked, I feel foolish and silly, and maybe I've hurt your feelings and hurt my own feelings. So slow down. Slow down. No, you're not going to die. Nothing terrible is happening. That's like the first thing I think everybody should know, because our whole culture says that if you're feeling jealous, it means either you're crazy, something's wrong with you, or your partner is bad and they've done something bad to you. Like they've done something wrong. Like we've put, when you're monogamous, if your partner does something that you have a jealous reaction to, it's like, well, never do that thing again. Never look at a beautiful woman again because I felt jealous. And that's really silly. So I just think it's really important that people know, like, it doesn't mean that there's something bad happening, and jealousy is a really normal emotion to have. I see it in babies as young as 6 months old. It's so freaking normal. Yeah.
I love that. And since you said it took you kind of 5 years to really navigate that, is there any other kind of wisdom or advice you might give for folks so that maybe it doesn't take them 5 years, maybe it takes them 3 years or 2 years? I mean, because everyone's journey is going to be different, but any wisdom you want to impart there?
Yeah. Work with someone. Work with someone. Seriously. Get a coach or a therapist or something, because when you're in your own little silo you can't see what you can't see. You have blinders on. You don't know the things that you don't know. And when all you've been told your whole life is your partner better not make you jealous, you can't see the things that you aren't aware of. And it's hard to find the places where it's your insecurities popping up, or where maybe there is something wrong happening. Maybe your boundaries are being walked over and you're just gaslighting yourself about it because you're trying to be good at poly. So work with someone or get community that is non-monogamous, so that you have sounding boards to like reflect with, and then journal out all your thoughts and feelings, every single one. Get them out of your head so you're not spinning out. That's so freaking helpful.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think that's all really sound advice. I really deeply appreciate that. Is there any other like things that you notice that come up often with either individuals or couples or triads that you work with repeatedly that you think might be interesting to share here?
Okay. Besides jealousy, the thing I see the most is this desire to be on the same page, to want the same things. And because of that, many people aren't really open and honest about what they actually want. Right? Like they go, oh yeah, maybe they're opening up a relationship for sexual excitement. They want to go swing or something. And they're like, yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds like it'll keep our relationship secure. When deep down, there's other things they want, but they don't want to say it because they want to be on the same page. right? They don't want to say, but also I'm a little demisexual. And as we're exploring these things, I'm finding I don't really get turned on by just like a quick slam bam. Thank you, ma'am. I really want to get to know someone, but I'm scared that if I tell you that then you're going to leave me or think that I'm bad. And so the thing I say is like, put it all on the table, all of the options, every possibility. You don't have to line up on them because you don't have to do them. Right? Like you don't have to do all the things that you talk about, but like you can say like, here's some things that I would like to try or do. And here's the things you would like to try or do. And there's one or two that overlap right now. Let's have those experiences and then revisit, or let's just keep talking about them. Right? Just like fantasies, like sexual fantasies, a lot of them are better off as a fantasy. You don't actually want to go and do them. And I feel like non-monogamy is the same way. Like a lot of it is fantasy until you've done it and had experiences and learned what actually works for you and what doesn't. And so trying to always be on the same page in desire, and it becomes a big roadblock to actually getting to a really authentic place where you're being really, really true to yourself and your partnership. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's really sound advice, and I see the same thing in my work with my clients too. So I love just kind of shining a spotlight on that it's, I guess, human nature that you kind of want to be in exactly the same spot, but we're also all different people, you know?
Yeah.
So why not just kind of have an open conversation and then take the fear out of it, show up with curiosity, and then, you know, let's see where we line up, and then we have a pathway forward. I love that.
Yes. Yeah. Curiosity. That is the key to all of it, is like, be curious rather than defensive or operating out of fear or assuming. Like, be curious, ask more questions.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And here's a fun question I like to ask sometimes, which is there's been debate in some consensually non-monogamous communities, including mine at Loving Without Boundaries. Is polyamory an orientation, or, you know, is consensual non-monogamy an orientation, or is it a lifestyle choice? And I have my thoughts on it, on my own view and experience, and I'm all happy to share them, but I don't want to taint your view. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that before I share mine.
Yeah, I think it's a spectrum. Totally a spectrum, right? Like if we were not influenced by culture and the outside world at all, I think we would all kind of fall somewhere on the spectrum between monogamy and non-monogamy. Most people aren't 100% monogamous or 100% non-monogamous, but some people are. And then we add in our life experiences and the realities of like resources and time and how we've been raised, you know. And then we veer more in one direction or the other. But I think it's definitely a spectrum and more of an orientation than it is a choice. But I think we have a natural inclination.
Yeah. That certainly aligns with how I come to it. The way I think of it is, I think for some people, it absolutely can be an orientation, like the way somebody who knows that they're gay, like they just know that's who they are, like they feel like they're wired that way. And so for me, I definitely orient towards polyamory. Like monogamy just never worked for me at all, you know? Yeah. And I used to think there was something horribly wrong with me until I read The Ethical Slut. And I was like, oh, okay. So you can just kind of realize this is part of who you are and identify that way. I also believe it can be a choice in the sense that it is a choice to practice consensual non-monogamy, because it does take effort, it takes work, and it can be. I think for some people it isn't fully an orientation, like they can maybe take it or leave it. So I think it can be both, is the way I view it. But I love the way that you expressed it for yourself as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I absolutely think it's on a spectrum. Yeah.
Totally. You know, when I was really young, you know, I got married at 23, and I really had the belief like the right thing to do is to settle down and get married and have this deep love. And that I love falling in love. And I had two long-term, really deep relationships even prior to that. But in between those relationships, I was so slutty. God, I just loved having sex and playing with people and I loved it. And also I loved being really deeply in love and committed. And I didn't think those two things could exist together.
Mm-hmm.
And when I discovered that those two things could exist together, it was like my whole world opened up. Like I can have all of the juicy, delicious, multiple people, the flirtations, the sexual energy, and also deep love and commitment all at the same time. Holy cow.
Yeah. Amazing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super awesome. Yeah. Very similar experience to yours. So yeah, we can have our cake and eat it too. And you can even do it ethically. Yay.
Yes. Exactly.
Like cheating is a thing. That's an option, but you don't have to do that. There are other ways to get your needs met, express yourself. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. So what would you say is like really lighting you up right now in your work or how you're approaching your clients? Anything you want to share in terms of your work right now that's exciting for you?
Yeah. Yeah. My podcast has been out for, I think it'll be 4 years this year. And it started out all interviews. I just love talking to people about just like this, right? Like about their experiences, because we want to hear what people are going through and not feel alone. And then this year I was like, I'm going to add in every other week, because I was doing bi-weekly, and I was like, I'm going to add in a solo episode every other week where I'm just talking about the work that I'm doing, like the things that I'm doing. And I have like kind of 5 main pillars that I work with people on, which is clarity, like figuring out what your North Star is, what you're doing, who you're doing, why you're doing it. Right? Connection, not just to your partners, but like to yourself, to feel really connected to yourself. Communication, because we all need new communication skills and to change things up, because it's so easy to get stuck in a rut. And we're really good at talking. We're not as great at communicating. Clarity, connection, communication, confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when I say confidence, I really mean like self-love, self-worth. Like, am I okay with the choices that I'm making in my life? Do I feel good about them? And then collaboration is the 5th one, because we've all been taught that you have to compromise in relationships, but somehow compromise has been bastardized into this thing where whoever gives up the most gets to prove that they love the most, even if they're suffering, right? So it's kind of turned into like this martyrdom thing. And so collaboration, can everybody bring what they want to the table, and then let's figure out the areas where we overlap, and we can collaborate on things and throw out the things that don't work and find new things that none of us were aware of. And so I've been doing podcast episodes to really talk about those pillars, because we need more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I love those pillars and how they conveniently all start with C.
Right.
That's fun. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. So thanks for sharing a little bit of your philosophy and how you help people. Well, I'm really loving talking to you. Is there any question that I haven't asked you, or any like knowledge, that you want to drop here that I haven't touched on that you'd like to share?
I really think it's important that people know that they're not alone and they're not weird, like as much as they might think they are, right? Like we live in a monogamous culture, and when you look around, you can feel very isolated and very alone, and like your desires are outlandish, and they're really freaking not. I mean, if people are listening to this podcast, then they're at least starting to get that idea. But like, find community, find people, not just to hook up with, but like like to actually talk to. That's such an important piece. And then get really, really clear on what you want. And you might not know what that is until you actually try things and do things. And then you go, oh, I had an experience. I thought I wanted it. I don't want it. Now I know I want this other thing.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And I couldn't agree more. So, and that's partly why I created this podcast and created my Loving Without Boundaries community, is exactly everything that you just said. So
Yep.
You and I were totally in alignment. Awesome. Very cool. Well, I like to ask this question too, just for fun. Is there, I love to leave people inspired. You already mentioned some different resources, which is awesome. Is there any particular music or song that really moves you or inspires you, that just to kind of end on a high note like that?
Oh my gosh. Yes. The Narcissist Cookbook.
The Narcissist Cookbook?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, you can find him in all the music places, but he does kind of a spoken word song, folk music that just like speaks to the soul for non-monogamous folks. And he's not specifically talking about non-monogamy always, but he's talking about self-love and like, who cares if you're loving yourself and multiple people or nobody at all. Like it's so freaking good.
How
Everybody
fascinating.
To him. Yeah, he's so good.
Oh, how fascinating. Thanks for sharing that. I look forward to checking it out. Awesome. Well, I really, really appreciate getting to know you. Thank you for the beautiful work that you're doing out in the world.
Thank you.
We're navigating both the coasts with our work. That's very similar. I appreciate that. And where can people learn more about you and find your work and your podcast?
Yeah. Thank you. So my website's ElleciaPaine.com, and you can download, I've got a bunch of free resources on there, like a whole bunch. So ElleciaPaine.com. But you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube at Ellecia Paine.
Awesome. Okay. I look forward to checking it out. And your podcast is Nope or Not Monogamous, correct?
Yep. It's a purple cover with a bunch of veggies getting it on.
I love that. Is one an eggplant or a pineapple?
There's an eggplant, a banana, and a something else. Not a pineapple, though.
I love it. That's fun. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the conversation and taking the time to speak about all things non-monogamous, and just really enjoy your energy, your enthusiasm. So thank you so much.
Thank you. This is great.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you like what you heard, are struggling with some aspect of your relationships, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit to work with me as your relationship coach, here's what I invite you to do next. Head over to lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. That's lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply, and book a call to speak with me. I'll get on the phone with you for about 45 minutes, and we'll get you crystal clear on 3 things. Number 1, exactly what's not working well in your relationships right now. Number 2, ideally where you'd like to be and what might be getting in the way. And number 3, the exact strategy to get you there, helping to close that gap. Remember, creating healthy, open relationships does not typically happen by itself. Many often need expert guidance to make it happen. We've helped clients all over the world to feel safe, happy, and secure in open relationships while not losing their mind or their cherished partners. To see if we can help you do the same, head over to lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. I'm Kitty Chambliss, and let's talk soon.